knowledge, and really a heartfelt gratitude. Thank you to Dr. Harsh Rajdeep sir. He's been a great source of inspiration and lighthouse for all the physios and all the people who are trying to excel and do great in the field of physiotherapy. So thank you so much, Harsh sir, for having me here on this platform. And I also thank you all the dignitaries and senior professionals over here on the platform, and thank them for sharing all the blessings and showers on me. Thank you for the platform, and I welcome all the participants, dignitaries, sports coaches, trainers, so today the topic of the session is athletic recovery. So athletic recovery is something which we all look forward to, specifically people who are into sports, who are into training, who are into coaching, who are into the industry where we deal with athletes. And recovery is always an issue for every person, even if he's an athlete, if he's not an athlete, if he's a layman, he's a normal office going guy, and if he's not related to any kind of high intensive activity. In our daily routines also, we do a lot of work, right? And by end of our day, we are drained down with energy. We have no energy left, no enthu left to do something extra, something beyond as the end of the day. And why this happens is because we are fatigued, we are stressed, we are down with all the energy available in the body. So we are unable to recover ourselves. And if we are unable to recover, we don't feel like doing anything. So this is something which we all need to understand, and it's the apt topic for the situation, because nowadays because of the pandemic, everybody is working from home, right? We are learning, we are doing, we are working, we are just putting in everything from home. Two things have increased tremendously. One is the screen time, and second thing is the sitting time. So we are mostly sitting on a chair, on a couch, on a bed, on a stool, whatever is available, and the laptop and the cell phones are, they are placed in front of us. And what we do is we are just focusing on the screen of the laptop. We are focusing on the cell phone. We are all the time, doing our thumb exercise, or we are just keep typing, doing all this stuff on the screen. So even if we are not working, there is a sedentary fatigue which comes in. So we need to understand how we can recover this fatigue, how we can keep ourselves up with energy. By end of the day, when our brains get exhausted, when our eyes get exhausted, when we as an individual get exhausted with all the stress and load, how we are able to recover as far as athletes are concerned and as far as the normal layman is concerned. So I'll try to give you certain inputs, and I'll try to guide how we can go ahead and recover ourselves with certain small information, certain small facts and figures, if we are able to manage with them, right? So let's start with the lecture, with the webinar, and I again welcome you all with the permission of the panel and the bench. So the topic, as I said earlier as well, it's athletes recovery, a 3 key stage approach, right? So what we do is we work hard, okay, and we sometimes don't recover well. So for a best performance, this is the formula. This is the only formula available on this earth for a best performance. You want to perform best, work hard, recover well, do your best, right? So we'll be looking forward for something which will help us increase our performance levels. So let's proceed further. So that's a small introduction of mine, as I've already been given a great overwhelming introduction by Dr. Himanshu Sharma sir. So let's just proceed further. Okay. So when we actually talk about fatigue, Okay, when we actually talk about performance, when we actually talk about the way we actually do, the way we actually work. So this graph will actually try to, try to make you understand how things go on, how things drop, how things go further. So on the right hand side extreme, you can see level of performance, and on the lower level, we'll be plotting the recovery phase, right? So when we start with any kind of activity, when we start any kind of training, when we start with any kind of intensive match play situation, our energy is full, right? We are all apt with full energy. We maintain that energy for a period of time, okay, and after a period of time that energy starts to dip, okay. So that particular time is called as fatigue threshold, right? From that particular point, the fatigue starts to kick in, and the moment the fatigue starts to kick in, your performance starts dipping down. So if you can see over here, if my cursor as an arm is visible to you all, from the point of vertex where the fatigue starts to kick in, there is a sudden drop. Okay, there is a sudden drop, and then the graph goes a bit steep. Okay, so what happens is the energy, the level of performance, the activity immediately drops when you overcome the fatigue threshold. Okay, you all of a sudden feel that you've just shed down all the energy and now you can't do anything. Okay, so there's a sudden drop. After that drop, if you're able to manage, if you're able to adapt that drop, if you're able to adapt the fatigue drop situation, there is a kind of steep maintenance. Okay, so there is some kind of energy which is called as emergency energy source, or what we can say is the reserve energy source, right? That reserve energy source tries to sustain you, tries to keep you flowing, tries to keep you managed with the fatigue level and the performance for some extent till the time you finish with the activity. Okay, just to give you an example, suppose it's a math situation and you're playing in, and it's been already say suppose 90 minutes and the time has exceeded, right? And after 90 minutes your body says, now I'm fatigued, I would not be able to perform, and the coach says, I can't give you a change, I can't give you a rest, you have to perform, you have to stay in. Even if you are unable to perform, you have to stay in and try to give your best, because that is the need of the situation. The coach cannot help you out in such scenario. So what you have to do is, you'll just try to understand the situation, you'll give your brain a thought, you'll give your mind a stimulus that there is no other way to fight back, right? And the reserve energy source will all of a sudden give you some kind of energy, and it'll help you to maintain your level of efficiency. Okay, although it has dropped. Okay, although it has dropped. Oh, right. So after a drop, the steep slope which you see over here, the slope which you see over here is actually that phase wherein you adapt that fatigue level and try to cope up with the stress. Performance will definitely go down, no doubt about it. You will not be able to perform at your best. You will not be able to assess and arrange the particular situation as per your capacities. But yes, you are able to sustain that load, right? So this phase is actually the maintenance of the reserved energy source. All right. Same thing happens when we are actually training for an intensive session. You are training, okay. We are training, and all of a sudden you get a point wherein there is a drop. You drop, you get a fatigue level. After that fatigue level, to enhance your performance, what you do is you keep pushing. This actually adds on to your endurance level also, right? So this will actually help you to understand how you can push your fatigue threshold level a bit ahead as well. So such kind of trainings wherein we create an interval or a periodized training session in which we add on to fatigue, right? We take the player to the vertex of the fatigue, and then we give him a kind of rest, okay, or a kind of a breather break, and we again continue forward. So we are not letting that athlete to recover fatigue from at that point, but we are just giving giving the athlete a chance to just take in a breath, manage with his oxygen levels, manage with his vitals, and re-continue with the same fatigue level. Right? This actually helps you to train your endurance standards. So proceeding further, after this point, you can see a graph which is trying to go up, right? So this is the replenishment phase, the recovery phase, replenishment phase, refilling phase, whatever you want to say, you can say that. So you are just replenishing all the sources, all the backups, whatever has been consumed by it. You're replenishing it. Okay. Now here you can see the replenishment starts and it is going beyond the level. Okay, it is going beyond the level of the standard wherein you started with this session. Okay, can you see this? Right. So what we are doing is we are recovering the body. We are giving the body the complete replenishment, whatever is required, as and when which is required. Okay, and we are giving the body time to rest. So when we are giving our body time to rest, what the body does is that it actually absorbs, it actually creates a particular what do you call uh, a particular eating capacity or an absorption capacity which replenishes its backup sources as well, right? So the body gets loaded up with the surplus energy, and then it is it's ready for the reconsumption. Okay, so when you're recovered fully, you're ready for your next performance. Okay, now what do you mean by decay? What do you mean by decay? Decay is the situation which is happening right now currently. Okay, in the pandemic situation, what we are doing is we have potential, we have athletic capacities, we have fitness, we have strength, everything is developed. But what we are doing right now is we are at home, we are locked down, right? We are sitting at our places because situation is such, we cannot go out, we cannot get exposed to the deadly virus which is there in the air, which is there in the environment everywhere, right? So we have to keep ourselves safe. So we are there inside in our houses, and we are sitting back, right? We are sitting, we are doing all these learning things and all, but our physical capacities are getting wasted, right? So this decay is basically the loss of physical capacities or loss of energy standards which we've already replenished, created, got it in surplus, but we are not consuming it. Okay, so improved performance is being decayed in this phase. Got my point? If everybody is getting my point, just type in yes in the chat box. Just type in yes in the chat box. Okay, perfect, perfect. Great, thank you. Now, I'm about to ask a question. As our topic says, recovery. Okay, what do you mean by recovery? Replenishment. Okay, refilling. That is recovery. Now, can anybody, like all the participants, all the dignitaries and senior professionals, can you just list down what are the 3 important aspects or 3 important points which actually help you to recover immediately and completely? Write the 3 points as in 1, 2, 3. Okay, first point, second point, third point in the chat box. I want everybody to just try it and please place your input. 3 points. The 3 main important points which will help you to recover immediately and completely. Okay, I've got just 2 points, Himanshu Manchanda. I need 3 points, 1, 2, 3, and all the 3 points, nutrition, hydration. Okay. Rest, Nishant Sindhu. Rest is a component. Rest is a component. proper oxygen. Okay, cool down. Okay, these are all components. These are all protocols. Rest, cool down, oxygen. These are all protocols. I need 3 points. 3 points. Like I've got 2 points. I've got 2 points. I'm waiting for the third one. Waiting for the third one. Diet. Okay, diet, nutrition is it's one and the same. I'm just waiting for the third point. That's very important, guys. Muscle fiber healing. Yes, yes. Now we've got the third point. Thank you, Divya. It's amazing, amazing. So, okay. So now we've got all the 3 points. The first point is diet, nutrition. Okay. The second point is recovery, as in repair in the muscle protein fibers, right? Repair. All the wear and tear has to be repaired, right? So second point is the repair. Third point is the hydration replenishment. All right, perfect. Thank you, guys. So these are the 3 basic points which will help you recover immediately and completely. How immediately? We're going to see. We are about to learn, right? So these 3 points, just keep it a note, right? These 3 points. I'll repeat. The first point is nutrition, proper adequate nutrition. Second point is repair, and third point is hydration. So these 3 points are to be used. How we'll be using? What are the basic things? How we can create a difference in this? We'll see. Okay, let's proceed further. Right. So recovery. What are the principles of recovery? थोड़ा ज्ञान भी होगा साथ साथ में. So we will just go ahead with it. So the principles of recovery would be the athlete needs time to adapt to training. Okay, this occurs when the athlete is recovering. Now, there are scenarios, there are situations wherein your player is in a school or a college kind of a setup. Okay, he is bound to perform in his college or school level as well, right? So in the school, he's got his regular PE schedule or your regular school team training, right? So he has just finished with his training. He's taken his meals. He's trying to recover, and he leaves the school and he sees the clock. He has to reach to the club's training as well, right? So he's engaged in a training scenario once again before he's been recovered properly, right? So these scenarios help. It does not help your player to recover. It actually helps them to drain more, right? So there has to be a proper protocol for that. We'll discuss about it further. We have situations over there in the further slides. So over here, athletes need time to adapt to the training. This occurs when the athlete is recovering. Okay. So when the player comes back into the training situation for the club, he is not that very engaged with the training setup, the training scenario. He wants to train, but his physical capacity, his body will not allow him to perform at his best, right? So he is still recovering, and because he's still recovering, he would not be told, and he's again getting pushed towards the fatigue level, so he would not be able to perform properly. The second is the overload principle. Again, this is the extent of the first point. Overload principle. What does the overload principle says? Body is already stressed, fatigued, not recovering, okay, and again stressed, right? Players specifically in the youth age, okay, they are freaking crazy. They just want to play, they just want to perform, they just want to just be on the field, right? So what happens is they are playing at this school, okay, immediately they come back to the field, they are training for the club, okay. The moment they get off from the club training, when they are going home, when they reach home, they again play, okay, with their friends and people around, right? And then they eat and then they sleep. Next day again the same scenario. If they are not training in for the club training setup, they are playing with their friends, they are playing in the school, they are playing in the locality around. So they're always training. And what happens is, after a period of time, they come up with issues like muscle injuries, they come up with cramps, they come up with repeated sprains, strains. So these all things actually happen because of overload training. All right. Now the next point is the fresher you are, the better the chance to improve. This means the better you recover, the better you give your body a chance to rest, to relax, the faster you'll recover. Okay. So overtraining or training to the maximum is not at all a solution to create best performance. Training specifically and not training after that will actually create the best performer in you, right? So you're training for best performance, but if you are not training after that, will actually help you to become a best performer. Okay, so you have to keep yourself relaxed and calm. Next point, recovery is maximized when fatigue is reduced as athletes cope more effectively. What does this mean? This mean if you see that point, it somewhat relates to the above point, but it does not. This means that athletes has a capacity. They have a capacity to recover and reinstate themselves very quickly, but they have to make this thing as a point that they are not engaging themselves again and again, right? So let them recover properly, let them recover maximally, and then re-engage, no problems. But when they're into a recovery phase, relax. They recover very fast because their body is meant that way. They are trained in that situation, right? Next point, negative adaptation can occur. Now, what do you mean by negative adaptation? In one word, we say it as a plateau. Okay, your body goes into such a situation that even if you get fatigued, your body will say, "ठीक है, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा." If you are not fatigued, ठीक है, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा. Okay, and this situation is the worst situation. A player who is actually stuck in the plateau does not improve further. So make it a point, you have to stay away from this plateau situation. Now, monitoring training responses. What do you mean monitoring training responses? It's like, okay, we are managing with the stuff, we are doing it. We are logging our training schedules. We are managing with the load situations. We are helping players to get proper rest as well. But why do we need to monitor the responses? It's a very very clear situation. When we train, when we are actually helping a player to enhance his skill, enhance his performance, when we are actually working for an outcome, for a goal, okay, we need to understand when to increase the intensity, when to decrease the intensity, right? So if we are able to monitor the responses, monitor the load, monitor the entire training schedule capacities and the periodization, we would be able to understand that our player is in a fatigue level. Is he recovered properly? Does he need some more time to recover? Or his weights and his vital capacities are complementing the training scenario or the training situations we've created, or a session plan which we've created for them or not? So the logging, the monitoring should comprise of certain batteries or components which are called as sleep quality, monitoring resting heart rate, monitoring morning body weight, and daily energy levels. So let me just give you a brief introduction to these batteries or components. Sleep quality. Is the athlete sleeping a sound sleep? Is sleeping for a good number of hours? Is he is he not waking up in between? Or is his sleep a good deep sleep kind of a situation? So these kind of monitorings are being done for all the professional clubs like ISL clubs and cricket clubs and all the senior most nicely managed clubs. So they have sleep experts within their teams, right? And what they do is they just monitor the sleeping patterns of all the athletes. Okay, this actually helps them to recover them when they are into a hectic, very intensive match schedule and travel schedule. So they have a match, they're traveling, next day again they have a match, they're traveling. So these sleep experts, they create a kind of a plan wherein they help players to sleep during the travel hours, and they help them to sleep with the best recovering capacities. They teach them, they train them, they tell them how to sleep during the travel, so that they are able to overcome their fatigue, they are able to recover themselves, right? So sleep quality is very important. Second point, morning resting heart rate. This is very important because if we are able to understand the heart rate of a player, what we would know about his body capacity is the extent of recovery rate, the quickness of recovery, okay, the level on which the player can fight back to a fatigue, okay, and the extent of VO2 max as well. Next point, morning body weight actually tells us the levels of the body vital capacities, hydration level, and his routine, the diet routine which he's following. Daily energy level ratings will actually help to understand the player's engagement, involvement, awareness, cognitive, coordinative responses, and his involvement in the particular training scenario wherein he has to act very creatively. Okay, the coaches actually tell you what to do, how to do. The player actually thinks and creates. So that we call it as a guided discovery pattern, right? So these things are very important batteries or components if we are actually analyzing a player's response or a team or a club's response. Now, signs of non-adaptation. What do we mean by signs of non-adaptation? Non-adaptation means we are in a environment scenario, okay, and we are training, we are in an acclimatization for a match scenario, and we are unable to adjust with the environment, we are unable to adjust with the training patterns, or we are unable to adjust with the plan of training for that particular situation. Okay, so what happens when we are actually unable to adapt and adjust? There is a sudden drop in the weight, so we feel weak, we feel not confident, we feel that we need something which can help us pep up, right? Second thing, increase in morning heart rate. Okay, when we feel weak, okay, the heart tries to compensate so that the nutrition reaches the body on different parts fast, quickly, and this is the reason the heart pumps in fast, and that is the reason the heart rate goes up. Studies say that it goes beyond 20%, okay, but on an average, what I have experienced with certain players, clubs and all, it varies from 10% to 28 to 30%. Okay, so there is a jump in this slab, right? Inability to respond to relaxation techniques. The player has played a game, intensive game, challenging game, very competitive. Okay, they've just got off the game. They are celebrating their victory. Very happy, very good. In next hour, they have to travel. Okay, they have a flight, or they have a train, or they have a bus, or they have a road travel, whatever. But they have to travel, and it's a travel of around 8 to 9 hours. Right. After 9 hours, they'll reach a place, they'll relax, and then they have their next match after 2 hours of the time when they are reaching their destination. Okay. So now, in such an intensive scenario, there are few individuals, there are few athletes, they are like a big no for the relaxation techniques. Whatever we do, we try to recover them. They do not respond to the relaxation techniques, right? So these players actually help us to get these kind of big no to the relaxation techniques, come what may. Okay, they do not respond, they'll say we are not feeling well, so they need their time to recover. So in such scenarios, do not push that player. If the player needs some time to recover, give that player the time to recover. substitute them, give another player a chance, let him perform, let him play. That player, let him rest. Probably you can use him in the next match scenario, right? The next point, sleep disturbances. Again, you're traveling, intensive match, fatigued, badly tired. Okay, and it's a usual situation in front of everybody. When we actually get tired, we are maximal tired. We don't feel, we want to sleep, but we don't get sleep, right? We just keep turning here and there. We don't get proper sleep, and even if we get sleep, we don't get up fresh, right? So this is called as sleep disturbance. Okay, low sleep quality, again the same. They try to sleep, they get sleep, but the quality of sleep is not that good. Okay, so this is probably this thing. I think there is a sleep expert with us also. So in the end of it, I'll request the sleep expert to give in some input on this, and he would be able to relate it to a better manner. So I'll request the sleep expert as well in the end, right? So yeah. So next point is feeling constantly tired. So when we are unable to recover properly, when the sleep is not good, when we are not responding to relaxation techniques, what our body would be, sir, hum pe na ho payega. This is what the body says to us, right? And what we say is, I am trying my level best, but I'm unable to do, right? So this is what the player responds. And what the coach is like, the coach sometimes goes disheartened because we need this player and he's unable to recover. So these problems come when the situation, when the training, when the load is not being adapted, or the periodization of the plan of the movement training in season plan is not being adapted by a particular individual or a player. Now, when these things happen, how we should proceed? When the player says, I am unable to do it, give that player rest. Now, when we say rest, what do we mean by rest? Okay, there are two ways through which we can help a player or an individual recover, right? Resting means rest, complete rest. Okay, but when we are over fatigued, when we are overtired, there is a way to create rest, right? So there are two phases. One is passive resting and the other is active resting, right? In passive resting, what we do is we meditation, we do flotation. Flotation is we float on water. So we go into the pool and we just float. We do not swim, we do not move, we just float in the water. Let the water help us relax. So that is passive relaxation. Reading, some people who get very much fatigued from their mental capacities, they read, they get a kind of soothing effect by reading. So that's a pattern of an individual's mind. Okay, there's one more way, listening to music. Like if I give my example, I relax listening to music, right? Even if I'm fatigued, there's a mood tone, and pertaining to that mood tone, if I switch on a particular set of music, I relax and I'm ready for the next challenge again, right? So this is again a kind of a passive relaxation. Sleep is again a kind of passive relaxation, wherein you just doze off, sleep, and stick a tag in front of your door, do not disturb till the time you wake up on your own, right? So that is sleep. Rest days means off training days, right? Off training days means you are on a rest period. Okay, the coach does not allow you to attend the training session, the coach does not allow you to attend the lectures, does not allow you to sit in the analysis session wherein your brain gets engaged, right? You are on a complete resting days. So these things happen, and if these things are not being taken care, mark my words, players go into nervous breakdown. They lose their temperament, they lose their efficiency. So the coach has to understand the temperament, coach has to understand the responses of the player, okay, and he should be vigilant and smart enough to gauge the mental capacity, the physical capacity, and the physical responses, the body attribute, the attire, the way he's dressing up, the way he's speaking. These things actually help a coach to get an idea that is the player ready or not, is the player recovered or not, is the player actually engaging in the current scenario or not, right? So these points come into passive resting. Now we talk about active resting. Okay, active resting means we are engaging ourselves in some kind of activity, but that activity is leading to recovery. Okay, rest does not mean that you are just sitting, sleeping, or sedentary, right? Rest means also a phase of recovery, right? So active rest helps you to proceed towards the phase of recovery. What are the active rest components? Light walking, as in a small stroll after your dinner, could be a good active rest pattern. A good walk in the morning, not a brisk, a light, soft, slow walk in the morning can help you recover. Okay, a mild jogging can help you recover, right? Cycling is again a mild cycling activity can help you recover. You can also you recover by some fun games or fun activities, right? Sometimes what happens is the entire team is so fatigued because of back-to-back match scenario, and in Indian pattern, in Indian schemes, you would not be shocked to say that a team sometimes end up playing 2 to 3 games in a day back to back within a span of 8 to 10 hours, in the gap of 2 hours or each, 2 hours or 3 hours each, right? So in such scenarios, the entire team is badly exhausted, totally fatigued. So what the coach does is they engage them in some kind of, you know, active fun activities, fun games. You know, they tend to give them a mental relaxation. They tend to engage their muscles into a cognitive awareness mode, wherein they understand that yes, we do not have to exert more, but we just have to keep ourselves mobile. Okay, that actually initiates more of nutrition absorption in the muscle level. The stimulus is being given to the brain that the muscle is acting, so we need more of nutrition to be flown over there, right? So these things actually help us to actively recover while moving. Okay, now stretching is again a way through which we can actively recover. When we stretch, we you know, initiate the absorption. We tend to release off the tightness of the muscle, so lactic acid barrier goes off and the absorption initiates, the hydration initiates. There's a change of gases as well during that stretching phase. So this actually helps you to recover. Visualization. Now, when visualization, how visualization helps you to recover. You are not engaged in something, okay, but you are watching something which is helping you to change your mindset. Okay, you've just finished with an intensive match. Your brain is actually mapped in that match, because you keep thinking again and again what best I could have done in that particular scenario. Okay, you keep discussing with your colleagues, with your co-players, with the coach, that coach, we could have done this, we could have done that, we missed that opportunity, we tried this, we tried that, this thing, that thing, he did that. So we are continuously in that match intensity scenario. We need to calm ourselves down, we need to calm our brain down, we need to calm our vitals down, right? So in this scenario, watching something lively as a like cartoons or comedy something, or watching soothing you know, videos like nature videos, or you know, something of that sort actually helps you to calm down, relax down. So these visualizations also help you to create an active rest scenarios. Now, cross training is again a kind of a way which I just explained, that the coach actually engages the team or the club in a fun filled activity, or something which actually disengages them from the match scenario or the training concept which they are into. Because every time when the player steps onto the field, his mind is sharp focused on what the training would be for the day, right? But the moment you will ask them to just relax, have fun, the mind would be like, okay, I was about to get a stimulus for training, right? But we are doing fun. Okay, let me relax. So the moment it gets a reverse stimulus, it relaxes. So this is also a kind of active resting position. Pool session. So pool session, what we do is we take all the players of the team, and give them a good dip in the pool, they swim, they enjoy, they have fun in pool water. They just do frolic over there. So that actually also helps you to recover, right? So these were the the resting phases. Now, when we've rested, okay, the body would need sleep. Now what happens is we have initiated the recovery phase, right? When we have initiated the recovery phase, the body would desperately ask for sleep, because we need rest to recover our body. We need rest to absorb and replenish the nutritive capacities of our body, right? So we need rest. But there would be certain players, there would be some individuals which will actually which will actually say that we are unable to sleep, we are unable to rest, right? So this will actually happen with couple of players. So what we have to do is we have to keep a track of those players specifically. We have to focus them on them very closely, and what we have to do is we have to help them relax through the passive resting again. Okay, help them do breathing exercises, help them to listen music, okay, give them a good massage, right? Help them to ease their brain down. Okay, so we'll ask them to do certain of these activities. We'll lie them down to sleep only when they are tired. Okay, now this point is actually a kind of misconception, or not misconception would be a wrong word. It's a kind of irony, what we can say. So we are fatigued, we want sleep, but because we are unable to adapt with that fatigue scenario, we are unable to sleep. So what we'll do is we will help them, we'll ask them to get engaged in the passive resting activities again, like listening music, watching something, doing some kind of relaxing techniques. Okay, so when they are engaged in that, and there would be a point wherein they'll say that now I want to sleep. So the moment they realize that vertex, that point, just do not talk, do not ask them to do anything, just make that player to sleep, and he would doze off in the best sleep ever, right? So make sure you keep a vigilant eye on that. Next point is, if not sleeping within half an hour, try point one. So when we are asking the player to engage into the passive resting activities, okay, and still he says that I'm unable to sleep, ask him to redo the passive resting activities again. Okay, make him engage in these activities, change this the sequence, jumble them up, ask him to listen the music sometimes, ask him to watch something. So engage him in the passive resting activities again. Okay, now if you wake up and try and get back to sleep and unable to sleep, okay, you say that now you want to sleep and you go off to sleep, and because of any reason, or because of sound, or because of any damn reason, because when you're tired you tend to break sleep sometimes, right? So because of any situation you wake up and you're unable to sleep, repeat the passive resting activities again. Listen to the music, get yourself engaged in some kind of reading or something, and you'll get back to sleep. Trust me, these things work. I've used them. Then when you are sleeping up again, make sure your wake up cycle is not being disturbed. Okay, this is very important. Scenario: you want to sleep, you tried sleeping 9 o'clock, you're unable to sleep. You did the passive resting activities, you initiated the sleep at around 11:30, right? You went off to sleep. 2:30 or 3 o'clock, you woke up again. Okay, now you're trying to sleep, but you're unable to sleep. You did the passive resting activities again. You started getting sleep at around 4 o'clock. Okay, now you go off to sleep again at 4 o'clock. And your waking up time is 6:30. Do not exceed your sleep from that. Wake up by 6:30. Why? Because the next day, the next time when you're again trying to initiate the sleep cycle, your sleep cycle will not be altered and you would be able to get your sleep back efficiently. Okay, the moment you increase the sleeping time, your sleep cycle gets altered, and that thing actually disturbs the entire cycle, and you again get stuck in the non-sleeping cycle again, right? So do not exceed that. Next, this was sleep. Okay, why I actually initiated these kind of slides and emphasized on sleep, because sleep is the most important, like if not just the most, one of the most important components or batteries which will help you retain your recovery levels. Okay, this will help you recover properly, this will help you replenish your backups properly, and this will also help you to resume the all the capacities to the maximum, right? So sleep is very important, really very important. Now we come down to the next part. Okay, the next part of the stages of recovery is nutrition and hydration. So fluid and fuel for recovery. Now when we talk about fuel for recovery, okay, what do we mean by fuel for recovery? The nutrition, the uh, the absorption, the macronutrients which we want for our recovery, right? So that is called as diet recovery or fuel. Okay, it is essential to replace a fluid loss for 2% can affect anaerobic output. What does this mean? We'll be going a bit deep in this. Okay, I'll be sharing certain facts as per this point. So if you want, you can. I would actually recommend that if you can note it down, that would be better. So it is essential to replace fluid. Loss of 2% can affect anaerobic output. This means if we are not replenishing our fluids properly, okay, if we think that less can be managed, then you are absolutely wrong. If we are less with 2% of replenishment of water, okay, this can affect on a bigger scale on your output. All right. Okay. Now, it is essential to replace fuel as in diet. Okay. First 20 minutes following to the exercise is the best. Now, first 20 minutes means after the exercise, the first 20 minutes, when you're completed with your activity, when you're completed with your exercise, when you're completed with your training, or when you're done with your match scenario, the immediate 20 minutes are the most crucial, the most important, which can help you recover 50% faster, better, and more than your usual body recovering capacity, right? So first 20 minutes, very crucial. First 1 hour, even more crucial. Okay. So you need to understand how, what, and when to have, right? Nutrition and hydration. What to take in, when to take in, and how to take in. All right. So, okay, we'll go slowly with that. So first thing, just a couple of important stuff. Okay, when we are actually into a very intensive activity situation or a match scenario, or in a very intensive training situation, what we are doing is we are depleting our carbohydrate efficiency, carbohydrate storage within the body, right? So when we are playing a match, after 90 degrees, after 90 minutes, okay, after 90 minutes, what we are doing is we are we are done with the consumption of carbs within our body. We are done with the efficiency of hydration within our body, and there's also a loss of micronutrients such as sodium within our body, right? So these things actually get exhausted, get finished. Now, is there a way we can replenish them, restore them quickly, instantly, and actively? Is there a way? Yes, there is a way. Okay. Before talking about replenishment, what we should understand is how our muscles actually get recovered, right? So what happens is when the muscles get are being involved in the activity, in an intensive activity, there is repeated exchange, right? Repeated exchange of nutrition, and repeated activities, because of certain cycles which go on at that time, there is a barrier which gets created by the lactic acid, right? Then because of that barrier, we are unable to initiate the exchanges. Okay, now because of that barrier, we are unable to initiate the exchanges. There is also a loss of hydration which we are not replenishing. Okay, when the complete exhaustion or the complete fatigue is being attained, okay, then we start with the recovery. When we start with the recovery, we should understand what is the rate of recovery, what is the extent of recovery, and how we are recovering. So a fact which comes in over here is our muscle actually recovers on a rate of 5% per hour. Okay, now imagine the muscle which has been fatigued till 80%. How much time that muscle will take to recover its 80% back? Okay, from 100%, 80% has been consumed, 20% is remaining. Okay, and the muscle actually recovers on the rate of 5% per hour. Right, now think and imagine how slow the muscle recovers. And if we are not recovering it properly, what kind of impact that repeated fatigue can create on that particular muscle, and we get injured, and by end of it what we say is, हमने तो कुछ ऐसा किया नहीं, why are we getting injuries again and again? हाँ ठीक है, we played, मैं यहाँ तक आया, I was resting, I was not playing at that time. See, it is not the situation that you are not playing it. The situation which counts is how your body is recovering, right? So the body is actually recovering on a phase of 5% per hour. How many hours are you giving your body to replenish it properly? If not fully, at least 50%, right? So this is important. Now, to immediately initiate recovery, right, what we can do is, do not reuse it, right, and induce a kind of diet or induce the kind of macronutrients which can be absorbed faster, better, and properly. The appropriate absorption is very much important. So when we talk about appropriate absorption, when we talk about quick recovery, when we talk about more recovery, what we mean is, there has to be a kind of supply which is simple, easy, and faster absorbable. Now, there is a recommendation to recover fast, to help our muscles, our body to recover faster. Okay, what we should do is, we should be consuming carbs at the scale of 2 to 3 grams per kg body weight. All right, that has to be done. And if we are actually in a scenario wherein we have to get engaged in a repeated training pattern, okay, there has to be a time span of 3 hours between each training, right? You've done one training in the morning, and if you're initiating the second training, there has to be a minimum gap of 3 hours. Okay, and in 3 hours, what I would recommend is, you should consume 2 to 3 grams of carbs per kg body weight in the simplest form. Okay, simplest form, which means it should be in such a way that the body should not exert any kind of energy to digest it and to absorb it, right? So what could be these simpler forms? Okay, so it could be either sports drinks, it could be shakes, it could be fruits, it could be rice, it could be uh, it could be any like pasta, it could be a preparation of rice. Okay, so these are the simplest form of carbohydrates which can be consumed by a body, and it gets quickly digested and absorbed, right? So 2 to 3 grams per kg body weight, 3 hours time span. Okay, and a simpler form. What I do generally when I'm stuck in such a scenario, I initiate simple carbohydrate drinks, right? Simple carbs drink. So why drinks? Drinks, they are in a liquid form, right? So in liquid form, whatever we consume in liquid form, it doesn't need digestion. So it surpasses the digestion phase and it immediately reaches to the absorption phase. Okay. So when it is already in liquid, it's easy to absorb, right? It's easy to exchange. So it gets more easier, replenishment gets faster. So in 3 hours, I give 2 slots of such replenishments. So the loading is done. There is surplus carbohydrate level. There's surplus glycogen which is available in the body to regenerate the ATPs, and you're ready to go for the next training scenario. This is what I personally do. There can be many various situations, many various compositions and combinations. So you can plan to do it as per your requirement and your taste, right? You need to understand the team's capacities as well. Okay, so this was for the repeated training scenario or such things. Like now, when we are into a very hectic situation, okay, wherein we have match in the morning, after 2 or 3 hours we have another match, and then after 2 or 3 hours we have another match. Okay, so in such scenario we cannot rely on 3 hours time frame, right? So what we have to do is we have to increase the intake of carbohydrates over there. So we cannot rely on 2 to 3 grams now. What we can do is we can increase from 2 to 3 to 6 to 10 grams. Okay, 6 to 10 grams of carbohydrate per body weight. Again, it should be very simple, easy to digest, easy to absorb. My recommendation, go in liquid forms. Best. Okay, no problems, right? No bloating, no heaviness, immediately absorbed and consumed. It helps you replenish again faster, right? So this is it. But make sure when you finish such scenario, you should give your team, you should give your squad at least 24 hours time span to recover. Okay, you've given a lot of load, you've given a lot of intensity to the players, to the team for a day. Now give them 24 hours complete total rest. Okay, give them proper diet, help them rest in active and passive resting situations, but no training, no active engagement in the game for at least 24 hours. After 24 hours, you can again plan your situations. Okay. Now, this was for the carbs. Now, when we talk about recovery, and as we've mentioned that hydration also plays an important role, what we have to take care is hydration should be managed, has to be managed, and one of the most important which can help you achieve the best recovery capacities. Now, over here in the point and in the current point, I'm so sorry about it. In the current first point, what we say is we have to replace and replenish the fluid, right? Sorry. So when we are actually replenishing it, okay, how to replenish it? Before replenishing it, if we understand, if we come to know, if we know what is the rate of loss, it would be easier for us to replenish. अगर मुझे पता है मेरी बकेट के अंदर 10 लीटर पानी है और 2 लीटर कम हो गया, right? I know 2 liters a loss. I can refill it, replenish it by 2 more liters, and the bucket is again back to 10 liters normal, right? But if I don't know how much, how would I be able to replenish it? So first we need to understand what is the extent of loss of water during the training or during the match scenario. So approx of 1.2 liters per hour is the loss of water in form of sweat. Okay, I repeat, 1.2 liter per hour. This is the average sweating capacity of an individual player. Okay, if we talk about the real slab, real situation, it is somewhat between 0.5 to 5.75 liters per hour. Okay, this is documented. Okay, this is from a research. Okay, and the players were kept on an intensive observation. They underwent the patch test, they underwent the urine test. Okay, they underwent the weighing test. Okay, so all these tests, they gave a specific data input which helped us to understand what is the rate of hydration loss during the activities and at the resting phase. Okay, so now imagine a player losing on an average 1.2 liter an hour. Okay, match scenario is, we take it to the maximum of 120 minutes, including the extra time and everything in football. Okay, so 120 minutes, 2 hours. What is the loss? 1.2 plus 1.2, 2.4, around 2.5 liters of hydration has been lost. This is on an average medium moderate threshold. Imagine of a player who is on a higher extent, wherein he actually loses around 3 liters of hydration per hour. Now, in his situation, there are 6 liters in the complete match scenario. He would be completely drained off, right? So we have to create such kind of combination, such kind of a plan which can help them replenish quicker and faster. Okay, now if we talk about optimal hydration, what is recommended is there should be a replenishment of 150% of what we've lost. Okay, now if we are losing 6 liters, okay, there should be a replenishment of not less than 13 liters or 14 liters of fluid. Okay, fluid as in it can be any form of fluid. Okay, so there has to be a replenishment of 150% of lost fluid capacities. So if we take this as an average, within 4 to 6 hours, we have to consume a good amount of water to replenish it fast. Okay, or we have to drink 1.5 liters per kg body weight in an hourly basis. So this has to be an instant replenishment of hydration capacities, or else that can initiate cramps, that can initiate strains, that can initiate dehydration in an individual's body. Okay, so there has to be a proper replenishment. Okay, now when we talk about replenishment, we cannot surpass the replenishment of sodium. Okay, we are losing this micronutrient with the sweat. So every time when we sweat, we lose electrolytes. Sodium is the very important component of that electrolyte. So we have to make sure that on an average 0.5 to 1 gram of sodium gets replenished with this hydration capacity. All right, so this is again a very important point when we talk about recovery. Okay, now we have recovered the fuel, we have recovered the nutrition, we have recovered the hydration. Now let's proceed further. Now, fatigue fighters checklist. When we are recovering, okay, we know now we know the facts, now we know the numbers, now we know what all things and to what extent we have to recover. All right, when we are actually proceeding towards a target, okay, or a match or a training scenario, what should be there in our mind, or what should be there which should be available or which should be listed down for a proper fatigue fighting scenarios, right? So here it comes. The first thing is drink proper, eat good, keep yourself, stretch, hot and cold shower pertaining to the situation. Okay, if you are recovering immediately after the exercise, after the training scenario, it has to be cold. If you are giving yourself comfortable rest, it can be hot or lukewarm. All right, at the end of the day, there has to be hot and cold. Okay, stretching, self massage, relaxation, and other techniques which will help you recover or help you rest properly. Okay, the next is monitor how do you feel each day. The coach, the team, actually the officials team or the sports analysis team, they keep a track of players on how they are feeling every day. Okay, they could be very happy on the first day, they could be happy on the second day. Probably the third day they are a bit low, right? Fourth day they are more low. Fifth day they are again happy. So you have to keep a track of this, because this thing actually helps you to help your body recover in a proper specific best manner. All right. Now, next is high intensity training require more recovery time. As we discussed earlier also, when we are training a lot, we have to give our body a proper recovery time as well. Now, what are the guidelines for hydrotherapy? Hydrotherapy is not just the replenishment, it is actually a way to recover our body with the help of water. Okay, so rehydration comes under hydrotherapy only, but it is one of the compartment, one of the point within hydrotherapy. So how to initiate hydrotherapy? The first point is rehydrate before and after. So you might have seen the professional players when they're actually sitting on in a tub or in a cold bath. Okay, they keep sipping. They keep sipping something. So that's actually the combination of electrolytes and energy drink, and they just keep sipping that. They don't gulp it immediately. They keep sipping sip by sip, one sip, two sips, slowly and gradually, right? So what they do is they rehydrate themselves. Second, clean skin with soap before and after. So before going on for a hydrotherapy or a pool dip, we need to take a shower and then get into it, so that our skin gets cleaned, our pores get open, okay? Our skin can breathe through properly. So when we say breathe through, this is important because there is a passive hydration which is also happening at that time. Third point is shower at least for 1 or 2 minutes. If or cold is for 30 to 60 seconds. Repeat it 3 times, as in before and after also. Okay. Now bathe alternately with warm 3 to 4 minutes, and if cold 30 to 60 seconds. Now when you're going for a massage, okay, there has to be a warm shower before, so that your body gets relaxed, and then there has to be a cold shower. Why? Because cold shower actually helps you to regain the tonicity of the muscle. All right, so this is the reason why you got to take a warm shower before and you got to take a cold shower afterwards. Now, further we proceed, there are further more techniques which can help us recover. Hydrotherapy, as we just discussed, sports massage is, again, we said that before going for a massage, okay, sports massage is again a way wherein it will help you to release your tightness, your fatigue, your exhausted muscle, get back to a recovered state. Acupuncture or pressure is again a way wherein you do the releases of the trigger points, you initiate the triggers, right? Psychoregulatory training is again a way wherein you actually you calm yourself down, you relax your brain, you relax your neurological pattern, okay, your response activities, you just calm down the entire the pathway, right? Meditation again helps you to recover, okay. Progressive muscle relaxation again actually helps you to recover. Autogenic training again helps you to recover. uh, Imaginary or visualization we've already discussed. Breathing is again something which helps you to recover. It initiates the oxygen capacity within the body. Restricted environment stimulation therapy also helps amazingly to recover. That is actually something which has been derived by rest only. Music, emotional recovery. Emotional recovery is, you get along with people, you talk to them, you get you relax, you share your happy feelings and all. Putting it all together, selecting techniques will depend on cost and availability. Weekly microcycles should include recovery, rehydration, stretching, hydrotherapy, massage, fluid, fuel replenishment, relaxation, psychological recovery. Okay, switching off pattern, as we've already discussed, that you have to keep your brain, your activities off the match scenario, the training scenario, when you're actually on the rest day. Okay, no training, no thinking, no talking, nothing, just recover. Okay, you can get involved in fun activities, musty, frolic activities. Off season is the time when recovery techniques should be developed. Okay, so off season, this point actually gives an opportunity to explain the entire scenario. The entire season, the entire plan, the entire time in a season is being divided into three parts. One is the pre-season, then we have in-season, and then we have off-season. Sleep quality should be good. The sleep cycle and the responses for all the resting techniques or the recovering techniques should be best, and your body replenishes on the correct time. Okay, so competition phase should be the recovery phase should be automatic in the competition phase. You the athlete and the coach are responsible for your own recovery. Okay, so not just you, the coach is also an equally responsible for your recovery. If you are not recovering, if your player is not recovering, it's not just the player at fault, the coach is also at fault equally, because either the coach is not devoting proper time towards the squad or towards the player, or his training patterns are not apt, or he's not able to manage with the load, or he's not able to understand the player's potential or his body physiology. All right, so if the player is not recovering, yes, the player could be at fault because his body is not sustaining to that, he's not adapting to the situation and the particular regime routine. But if the coach is also not understanding the player's physiology, then the coach is on fault, right? No offenses to all coaches and trainers available here on the platform, but yes, your player is not recovering, the coaches are at fault. Now, this is a kind of a sample strategy which will help you manage and monitor the player's responses. Okay, so what you will be monitoring on a daily basis is heart rate, okay, his sleep, and his body fatigue, right? His energy levels, his diet, his post-match routine of eating, right? So the snacks or the fluid which he's taking in, okay, use of massage and hot and cold applications, okay, the bedtime practices is again very important, because what happens is when players are off the training, or they've just finished with the match, and when they are asked to relax and rest in the night, what they do is they are either busy with their cell phone texting either their girlfriends or their family or their wives, right? They are engaged busy on a call, or busy playing these mobile games, not to mention them, we all know which game these players play very frequently. So these games actually trigger your mind up and they don't let you sleep, right? So the bed practices are to be observed on a regular routine basis. Okay, when I am in such a situation, my instruction straight away to players is, by this time you have to keep your cell phones in my room and go off to rest. You will get your cell phones next day in the morning, first thing you do, but in the time I need all the cell phones in my room, right? So this is what I do if they do not listen to the instructions and they have to sleep. If somebody plays notorious, we have to do certain things, because we as coaches, we have to create an example, we have to set an example, and we have to make them realize the importance of rest. We have to make them recover. We are responsible, right? So this is what they should understand. They should respect to the coach's instructions, and they do it. But players are players, they sometimes they get notorious, right? So that's okay, that's allowed, but we have to take care, right? This thing. Now, relaxation, breathing, music, so these are the things which we should take care, and we should observe about how player is using these tools, right? On the weekly basis, what we need to observe is have at least 1 day of rest, okay, 1 day of cheat day, and 1 day of light activity day. Why rest and light activity day has been separately mentioned? When we say rest, as in complete rest, no training, nothing, just relax, rest, nothing, okay. 1 day of cheat day, as in they are allowed to enjoy their food apart from the routine training diet, okay. And 1 day of light activity day, as in there should be 1 day which should disengage them from the thought process of how to go ahead and play better. So we have to engage them on fun activities, some outing or some tour or some kind of planning games of something which should bring them off the specific training or specific game potentials. Okay, so if we are football players, we should bring them off this thing. If we are into some other player, some other game, we have to engage them in such game or fun activities which should bring them off that thought pattern. And the plan is rank all weekly commitments, add varied recoveries around these activities. So these things are to be observed. These are a couple of things. There are plenty other things as well. But these are a couple of things which should be managed and taken care as per the scenarios. So on daily basis, weekly basis, and the plan should be kept in such a manner. Okay. So by this, I finished with my presentation and my talk, and I thank you. And now we can entertain the questions if we have any. So I think we've got a couple of questions. Okay, so there's one question by Dr. Kalpana. Adequate rest is responsible for recovery. Okay, the response. Okay, how to calculate the average heart rate of an athlete or a sports person? It's easy. Take a pulse oximeter, okay, and just put it over the finger. It will give you the heart rate. You can also calculate through the pulse, okay. You can see the palpitation of the heart, okay, the heart sound, and you can calculate that, okay. So there's no specific rocket science in that. You just have to do it this way. Then fast-acting carbs helps restore body levels of glycogen. Banana, yes, banana is also a fast, simple form of carbs. Okay. Okay, there's one question which says, how can I calculate hydration loss as I don't have weighing machine at home? Okay, so you got to have, see, there are few ways to check the hydration. Okay, one is the patch test. So that for that you need to be skilled and you need to have that particular setup. Okay, second is the fluid intake and output. So the moment the amount of intake of the fluid, you have to keep a check on how much intake has been taken, and you have to keep a check on how much urine output is being done and how much loss of water during the training has been done. So if you don't have the weighing machine, these are the ways through which you can check the average water loss capacities, right? There's one more question by Deepthi M. The question is, I want to know if an athlete is having higher heart rate, that is 180 per minute, just starting the run, then what is ideal? How can we say that? Okay, when the heart rate is higher, the recovery rate is less. Okay, the recovery rate is very slow. Heart rate higher, fatigue will come in fast. Okay, when the fatigue will come in fast, he would not be able to perform at his best. Okay, so what our approach should be, we should actually create, in fact we should look to the monitoring what we've got. Okay, the monitoring components. Okay, we should look forward to it. We should look forward to the VO2 capacities. We should look forward to if he's facing any kind of medical ailment. If not medical ailment, his recovery patterns are being on toll, and he's unable to manage with the routine. So probably these things can help you understand why his heart rate is increasing, and you can work on those challenging areas wherein you can understand probably he is unable to adapt with the situation or the new environment you've put him in, or probably the periodization or this session plan is way beyond his extent. The load is more, or maybe he's unable to recover properly because he's unable to sleep properly. So these situations can help you understand why the heart rate is more, and you can help the player to recover faster, bring his heart rate down, and help him to reach his efficiencies. So how to restore sodium level? Um, Simple. You just have to add salt in water, electrolytes, add good electrolytes, and you'll be able to restore sodium level. There's another question by Anto. How is heart rate and fatigue related? Why is it directly proportional? What are the factors affecting to it? Okay, again, as I said in the previous question, there could be many scenarios. Probably he's unable to understand, he's unable to rest properly, he's unable to manage with the load capacities of the training session, he's unable to manage with the pressure of the environment wherein he's been trained in. Okay, probably his body is not responding to the recovery techniques which we are putting him on him. So these could be situations which can lead to increased fatigue, okay, and increased heart rate. So when we do not rest and we are engaged back in activity, our heart rate increases. And when the recovery is not done, the heart rate keeps increasing, initiating back to back again and again and again. Okay, so fatigue and heart rate is equally directly related and proportionate. Now, what are the factors affecting environment, routine, training? One very important factor is, which we tend to neglect sometimes, we are not rehydrating ourselves properly. If we are not rehydrating, fatigue level is done, we are not recovering, and the fatigue is initiating again and again and again. The heart rate will raise up. Like right now I'm speaking again back to back, repeatedly, so my mouth is getting dried, right? When my mouth is getting dried, there is an extra effort which my body is putting in to speak more, to speak louder, to deliver it proper with the continuous energy, right? So when we are actually exerting more energy, the heart rate increases. So that's the body response. Okay, so fatigue and heart rate are directly related, right? So these could be a factors. Plus probably his eating patterns, his sleeping cycle are not adequate. And over here I would request our sleep expert Dr. Himanshu Sharma to please show in some light on sleeping patterns, or because these players, they are actually exposed to such a scenario, such an environment wherein they are exerted to deep stress, deep exhaustion, deep fatigue, and sometimes they are on such a toll that they are unable to sleep properly. So we've definitely discussed on few of the protocols on how we can initiate sleep, but I would request the sleep expert Dr. Himanshu to please give us some tips or some ideas on how we can initiate and how we can help the players to get into proper recovery sleep. Dr. Himanshu Sharma, sir, please.
Thank you, sir. Thanks.
So before Dr. Himanshu Sharma speaks, just a quick introduction for him. He's one of our dear faculty. He's an academician. He's a master in neuro issues, right? And he is the sleep expert. He's doing a lot of research, and he's doing a lot of studies on sleep patterns, sleep apnea, and how to improve sleeping capacities in different various scenarios. So he's actually, we call him a sleep master. So, sir, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this overwhelming response. Actually, I'm just learning the things in the sleep disorder. It is actually attractive, eye-catching for me. Most of the things you have well discussed in your lecture, sir, regarding the sleep. Like we are talking about, you have discussed about the sleep restriction, paradoxical intention therapy, stimulus control therapy. So, and the most commonest thing is the hygiene, sleep hygiene, that we usually say is, yes, you should avoid the coffee and alcohol at the night times. And if possible, we should avoid the vigorous intensity activities at the night and late evenings. So these are the certain things which definitely affect the sleep. And sleep, if there will be insufficient sleep, it will definitely increase the level of cytokines in the body, and it will affect not only the recovery, even though the immunity of the individual. And sleep disorders, commonly insomnia is also very common in the our athletic population, maybe the various reason. So but sleep hygiene is the I think one point solution that we should have a proper sleep timing. We should avoid the stimulus which can restrict the sleep. And we can suggest the individual to be relaxed, like biofeedback sometimes works but not so much effective, but biofeedback, music therapy, relaxation techniques, and magically our electrotherapy is working well. Yes, sleep hypnosis
Absolutely.
can also be definitely be tried. And electrical stimulation, as I am individually personally using the electrical stimulation, I am having a great results. And always, as it has been discussed in our some basic books of law and read and electrotherapy, that we can have a choice of controlling the motor units, as we are working with the strengthening with FES and all. So we have the choice how much motor unit we want to recruit. That quantificatively we can increase. So same thing we can do with the electrical stimulation, cranial stimulation. There are a lot of neuromodulation techniques. They are very efficient. And sleep is something which is everywhere it is needed. Even though for COVID also, we can improve our immunity if we have a better sleep, quality sleep. So thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the
It is
great
not like
insight, sir.
I'm just a learner in the sleep. It is an area of interest for me, especially the
That's your
insomnia
modesty,
and
sir.
all.
That's your
And
modesty, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot for the input. So here we had the sleep expert.
so,
Okay, let's proceed further. We've got a couple of more questions.
yeah, yes,
Um,
please.
okay, so now we have another question. What is the range of heart rate in the professional athletes? Okay, so resting heart rate lies between 30 to 40, 45 beats per minute. Okay, so that is the resting heart rate for a professional athlete. It varies, like it could be probably, it can be 25 to 40, it can be 30 to 45, maybe 50. So plus minus 5 or 10 units is considered. So this is the resting heart rate for a professional athlete. Okay, is there any side effect of excessive use of self mechanical massagers if patient or player self uses at home? If they, how to warn them? Okay, self mechanical massagers, if done excessive, can induce soreness. Okay, that can induce soreness, that can induce muscle tightness, that can also induce strenuous pain. Okay, so you have to make the player or the patient understand that he or she can use these self mechanical or these battery operated massagers for a short period of time, and after doing it, either do a bit of icing or take a shower, so the muscle actually replenishes and recovers. Okay, so you should make them understand, and it should not be done like repeatedly or for hours or 2 hours, for a shorter period of time. So what I recommend is a time span of 20 to 25 minutes, max 30 minutes, but on a movement basis. Like it should not be on a specific point that you've just kept it over there and it's just doing the massage. It should be dynamic massage, right? So it should be a dynamic massage. Okay. Uh, Thank you, Dr. Namta. Sleep hypnosis, it has been already discussed by Dr. Himanshu Sharma. Sleep improves testosterone levels also. Yes, it actually helps. It rejuvenates your entire enzymatic cycle, your hormonal cycle. It refreshes the entire hormonal cycle. So it definitely, yes. So I think we've covered almost all questions. And if in case you have certain more questions, my number is there. You can text me up, you can WhatsApp me all your questions, and I'll try to resolve the questions. So thank you so much. And we've already received Dr. Harsh sir's uh, view response. So thank you, Dr. Harsh sir. It's always a pleasure to have you. Okay. Great. So I think thank you, sir. Over to you, Dr. Himanshu Sharma sir.
So
Thank you so much.
thanks a lot, sir. It was again a wonderful and excellent session. We had a great learning ahead in this session. And it is a matter of fortune for me that throughout the session my net was supporting me. No, not
Great.
at all. Not for a single time I get disconnected. Neither it happens every day with me. But today it was my luck that I can attend the session, and I personally had a lot of learning in the today's session, and we all had a good learning today. So it is a matter of immense pleasure, and we are really honored to have you with us on the board, sir. And as always, you have well explained, well orated, and well taught the topic, the recovery, and how does it can impact the individual's performance, athletic performance, and how can we enhance the recovery, as recovery is important for the next performance. So we are really indebted to you for sir, such a great session, sir. And you may already know that we have such some great personalities over here with us, and we are honored to have all the senior faculty members, my respected teachers, Charu ma'am, Harsar, Ritu ma'am. They are always joining us, continuously supporting and blessing us. Very senior, our Dr. Kalpana Jutsi ma'am from the Jamia Amdad, Jiten Munjal sir, and many other senior faculty members who has joined us today for our today's session for this session. And as we have the participant from around 3 countries in this session for today, sir. Dr.
Wow.
Amita Anup Sharma, ma'am is senior physiotherapist in the Dubai, Yanubu, and Dr. Charu Sharma, my teacher, is joining us from the Washington, USA. One more, the Dr. Priyanka Mangal is also joining us from the USA itself. So we are really grateful to all the participants for joining us. Many more participants has joined us. Many the senior and well-known personalities of the physio field, like Dr. Sania, Dr. Deepak Sharma sir from the Udaipur Sunrise Institute, Dr. Ruchika Pal, and many more. So we are really grateful to all for their continuous support, love, and blessing. So keep supporting us. We are really thankful to you, and heartful thank to the resource person of the day, Dr. Himanshu Tiwari sir. And at the last, we have information. Tomorrow we have the session again on the sports, special for the special condition, athletic training for the special condition. So stay tuned, stay in touch with us. We'll meet again tomorrow at the 9 p.m. on the same platform. So thank you all. Thanks a lot to the Himanshu Tiwari sir. Till then, stay
It's
safe,
always
stay
mine.
tuned. Good night.
Thank you, thank you. I thank
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Himanshu Sharma sir and Dr. Harsh Radhi sir for having me
Thanks.
over here. Thank you.